Be the change. Be the change. How can you find your divine communication? How can you develop your spiritual knowing and your inner light? I know everybody that I know is looking for happiness. They're looking for peace. And we are walking around here on planet Earth and we're trying everything we can to find our inner happiness and to find a sense of peace. And so we think about it, we do about it, we run around, we try and do this, we try and do that, and we try to figure out how we can quiet the mind and find our inner peace. The spiritual knowing and the inner light. When you look in the mirror, maybe you see someone who's worried, or you see someone who is kind of anxious about the future, or you see someone who is kind of fearful about choices that you have to make, or maybe you see someone who is sad because things have happened in life before, and it's difficult, challenging to be a person on planet Earth. And so inner authority, the outer things, that's what we're mostly concerned with here. We are mostly concerned with where you live, who you're with, what age you are, what kind of job you have, what kind of clothes you have, what kind of status you have. And so these are the ego things. These are the ways that we present our personality. Like, this is who we are. This is my identity. This is who I am. And then when you look in the mirror and you see the worried person, you see anxiety, and you see the fear and maybe depression looking back at you, and you'll be like, what happened? And so how can you take inner authority? Like, if you have faith and you believe in something greater than us, the humans, you have faith, you believe in something greater than us, how can you do the work? When I went to a church and I was working, I was vacuuming, I was dusting, I was cleaning bathrooms, I was serving food, I was doing a lot of work in there. And then I would ask them, am I doing God's work? Is this doing God's work? Because it felt kind of hollow, and it felt kind of, I don't know, it just felt kind of laborish. And God is love, right? And so, and they say, yes, this is great, like you're doing God's work. And in one sense, yes, you are doing God's work, but it's not really God's work. That's the human's work that is preparing for the place that we are going to go to do God's work. And so how do you do God's work? Well, you have to take inner authority, because faith without inner work is dead. You are not going to get anything by sweeping the floors and just doing that and continuing your life and going there every once a week. Nothing's going to happen until you decide to look at that person that you see in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see anxiety? Do you see fear? Do you see depression? Do you see disappointment? Do you see resentment? Do you see jealousy, anger, or disappointment that life didn't give you what you were thinking that it would give you, and it doesn't feel like the way that you thought it would feel? So there are all these different aspects to, and so how can you then start to take inner authority and have faith? This is the part where having faith is very important, because it can be feeling very difficult and it can feel very fearful to go within. That is probably the most fearful thing that you can say to a person. And here I am saying it. So the most important, like, fearful thing that you can say to people almost is like, you have to go within and you have to feel all those difficult things and all those challenging things that are inside of us. We're all a hot mess inside of us, but on the surface, with our name, our job, what we do, how we present ourselves, everything looks fine because we're so good at presenting ourselves. And so on the inside is a different story, and it is a different story with everyone that you meet. There's hardly anybody out there who is peaceful and happy with where they're at, because we don't know how. It's not that we don't have it, because you already have it. You always had it, and you always will have it. And so it's not that you don't have it. It's not that you have to do something or be different to find it, or you have to go somewhere to find it. No, you just have to be able to look in the mirror and then go within. And so how can you take inner authority? How can you find a way to trust yourself? This journey is like, you can read about it in books, you can hear about it in books, But this journey is a very personal journey. You have to go within, and you have to find that little still inner voice that is speaking to you, because that is how the divine is speaking through you. And you have your own way in your life, and it's not going to look the same for everybody. It's going to look different, because we're different people with different likes and dislikes and things that makes us happy and unhappy and stuff. And so you have to find your own unique voice, and it's already there. You already have it. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do a thing. You just have to kind of find the stillness within and be brave enough to face all those demons, the fears, the resentments, all those feelings that are so difficult inside of us. And so how can you do that? Like, sometimes you have to be able and willing. Willingness is a big one, because you have to be willing to, like for me, example, like I had to be willing to leave my past behind. My past was very challenging and very difficult, and so much distress and disappointment and betrayal and abuse and neglect and all that stuff, broken, and so left broken on the sideways. And so how can I had to find within myself a way to allow it to be in the past and to accept it and to be okay. Self-acceptance. Okay, so this is a part where I have to just come to terms with, it is what it is. And right now, radical acceptance, it is what it is. And I feel this way about it. I'm not going to try and hide how I feel about it. I'm not going to try to deny how I feel about it. I'm just going to allow myself to feel about it so that it can come out. And once you allow yourself to be feeling whatever you have in your past, when you are brave enough to sit down with yourself, and you're brave enough to sit down with yourself, and you're going to just allow it to be what it is, and you fully accept it. You're not trying to change it. You're not trying to be different because, okay, I did some stupid stuff back there. But hey, we're not trying to be different. You're just fully accepting yourself. That was a part of your journey. That was a part of who you were at the time. And this is why this inner work, this inner authority is so important, because we are constantly changing. Unless, of course, you stay rigid and you stay stuck. And the rigid and stuck humans are a big problem in our society. And so you're here. So you're willing to be more adaptable, to be more changeable, to be more dynamic. You want to find your inner peace. You want to find your inner happiness. And this is how you do it. You have to go within. There is no other way. And so leaving the past behind and welcoming new experiences. So how can you leave your past behind and then start from scratch? Start from what's it called? Start afresh. Like, you basically start with a new page. This is it. This is the moment. This is it. This is all I have. This moment right here. I'm sitting here and I'm talking and I'm thinking about things. I'm allowing the divine to speak through me, and I'm hoping that this message will reach you in a way that you can also find what I have found in my life, the inner happiness and the inner peace. And it doesn't mean that I'm always peaceful, I'm always happy, always that. No, I have to work on it. And when sometimes emotions come up, and then I'll be like, okay, this is now, I'm accepting that this emotion is a part of me at this moment. So I'm not trying to hide it. I'm not trying to deny it, but I'm allowing it to be. And so now I become more of a dynamic, like movable, like energy in motion, emotions, not trying to say, oh, that's inappropriate, or that's wrong, or this is, no, I shouldn't be feeling that. I shouldn't be feeling that. No, what you feel is what you feel. As simple as that. Getting to know and taking inner authority, getting to know what's going on inside. We're all a hot mess inside. Like, and faith without works is dead. You have faith out there and you're going to go and worship and you're going to do all these things, and you're missing the point. And it makes me sad, because that journey of being out there, trying to search something out there, is not going to bring you the inner stillness. It's not going to bring you the inner happiness. It's not going to bring you the inner joy. So how can you find, wherever you're at and whatever rituals you enjoy doing, keep doing those. And at the same time, just find a way that you can do the inner work on yourself. So when you look in the mirror, maybe then one day you look happier than you did before, because you went inside and you looked at, why am I feeling depressed? What is it that makes me feel so sad? What kind of the past, what part of the past am I holding here in my present moment that makes me feel sad, that makes me feel lost? or who did I lose in my life that I'm still grieving over? And so the grieving process is something that you have to go through it, and you have to go through it in order to release it. And now it doesn't mean that you'll always be happy, you'll never be sad again, you'll never cry again over the ones that you lost. No, but it means that for the main part, for the most part, you're going to be satisfied, you're going to be content, and you're going to be happy with where you're at. And every so often the memories will come back, and that's okay. Then you are going to allow it to be energy in motion, so that you can just allow it to be, and then you can go back into your path. And maybe that's one part of the spiritual work that you can do. And these things take time, so you have to remind yourself, and you have to go in there, you have to be allowing it to come up. And then once you are dealing with this, maybe you are anger, maybe when you look in the mirror you see a lot of anger because people have mistreated you, they have betrayed you, they've stabbed you in the back, maybe they always try to belittle you or try to make you feel less than, and stuff like that. And then you be angry. And how can you deal with these things? How can you find within yourself a certainty and the faith, again, having faith that there is a bigger reason for everything? And once you start doing the work, once you start finding your own joy, your inner light, everything, the people on the sidelines, they are going to try and knock you down to size. They're going to try to make you feel worse. They're going to try to make you feel less than, so that they don't look so silly next to you, because they're still holding on to everything. And you're over there doing the work, doing the inner work, taking inner authority. And the divine communication that you get in the moment, once you start to peel off these layers of anger, layers of depression, layers of sadness, all this stuff, like once you start peeling these things off, you're uncovering. You are allowing your true nature to come out. You're allowing your true self to shine. You're allowing that spirit, the divine connection that you are connected always and always were. Like in any time of your life, you always had this connection, but it was just covered up by everything life. And so you've had this power all along. Now you need to just believe it. And once you start believing it, and then you have faith. And if you don't know where to start, you look in the mirror and you're like, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how I feel. I don't even know what is going on inside. I don't even know how to find my inside. I don't know how to do that. I've never done that. I always just focused on outside. Okay, so then have faith. Ask the divine in whatever ways you pray. It's okay. However you communicate with the divine, ask, can you show me how I can find my inner self? How can, what is it that would be beneficial for me to look at within myself? And maybe you're so closed off because you've had to be in protective mode so many years that you're closed off. And now, well, when you pray about it, you might start to notice that you see people around you who are depressed, or maybe you see angry people, or maybe you see people who come up with all kinds of resentments, or maybe you see all these things, all these different, these things will appear in your circumstances, and that's the answer to your prayer. And so whenever you pray about it, you're going to start to see it out there, and that's how you know. And that's how you know, and it's a beautiful journey, and that's how you communicate with the divine. And I got chilled because it's the most beautiful and wonderful part, and it's just like magic, because you be there and then you ask about it, and it just shows up for you when you asked about it, and it's quite magical and it's very beautiful. And so then now you know, okay, so I see angry people everywhere, maybe I have an issue with anger. Okay, then you can start asking questions. Why would I be so angry? Why would I be feeling this way? And we just start to unravel these things and ask the questions like, how can I release this anger? How can I find a stillness with the anger? How can I allow it to be? And maybe you can use it as a fuel to get your other stuff going. Like if you have projects or you have things to do, and there are so many ways that we can go within, and it's all about just peeling out the layers of who you think you are, or how you think you have to be, or that you always just were like that. And then you're peeling all these layers, and behind there is the peace and the happiness that you always were seeking. Once you find the peace and the happiness, so when you're out there in the world and you're trying to do good, you're trying to be a good person, you're trying to do the right thing, and maybe when you do that, like people react in different ways that you didn't expect them to, or they did different, like they didn't come, but it didn't happen like the way that you thought it would. And this could be because you're carrying the energy of anger, or maybe you're carrying the energy of resentment, or maybe you're carrying the energy of depression. And so when you go out there, like that's the energy that you bring with you, and people are going to remember you by how you make them feel. And so if that's what you bring to the equation, it doesn't matter what the face is saying, because we are communicating whether we know it or not on a energetic level. So whatever you're transmitting, even if you're not aware of it, whatever you're transmitting is what you're giving to the circumstances around you. So this is also why it's so important to go within, so you can clear it out, so that when you do interact with people, they give you the feedback that you would like them to give you. That's your intention. And that's how you can take your power back with that. Also, it will build your confidence. You're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel more in alignment with yourself. You're going to feel more full as a person. There's just so many things. But if you have faith and you don't do the inner work, you're not going to get the results that all the scriptures and the old testaments and all these things are talking about. But you will get it if you have faith and you do the inner work and you take inner authority of yourself as a human being. You will get the results that you are looking for. So inner work and faith is very powerful together. Esther and Abraham Hicks says, every death is brought about by the culmination of the vibration of the being. There is not an exception to that. No one, beast or human, makes their transition into the non-physical without it being the vibrational consensus that is within them. So every death is a suicide, because every death is self-imposed. So we are all going to, this body, like the body is going to wither and die. That's how it is. And so your soul is going to transmute into the next world, into the next realm. So our soul is always alive. It's always alive. The soul, this is why it's so important to find it and to nourish it before you go into the death. Then you won't even be scared of death anymore. You won't fear it. It won't be like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Oh no, you're just going to be like, okay, so then I'll transition into something else. And then that's how life goes, around and round and round in circles. And the happiness and the joy that you can find while you are here on this planet Earth is in your hands. And you can always take charge of that. And you already have it. So you don't have to go anywhere. You just have to be still and find it within yourself. And the beautiful light in me, it honors, it loves, and respects the same beautiful light in you. And until next time, namaste.